Welcome back to Run Through TV. My name is Ben Shepherd, and let's get stuck into another runner story, shall we? Today's guest, a fantastic bloke. His name is Donnie Campbell. He's a mountain runner, an ultra runner. He's an endurance athlete, and you know what? I'll let him tell you exactly what he wanted to do.
Cool. So obviously living in Scotland, I've always wanted to climb all the Munro. So for people that don't live in Scotland, the Munro is over 3,000 feet, and it's pretty much all the hills that are over 3,000 feet is classed as Munro. So there's 282 of them in Scotland. And I've ran lots of them before I did the Munro Round, but I just go to my favourite ones that were more leaning towards faster running or scrambling, or more interesting in avoiding like the more rounded kind of plateaus that are kind of grassy and really boggy. I thought it'd be cool to do an actual Munro Round, just do them all in one go, and then kind of more looked into it and how, first person doing the Munro Round and how it's established through the years. To last couple of records been set on the Munro Round, which is in a self-propelled style. So like climbing the Munros, cycling in between, and then kayaking over to the island of Mull, or swimming over to Mull. So that's kind of how the self-propelled style came about. Being an athlete, I'm always fairly competitive, so obviously doing it, I want to do it well and do it to the best of my ability. And I've seen previous record holder Stephen Spikes. His record was 39 days, I think, and 9 hours. So I knew that was in theory achievable, but obviously you don't know over so long how it's going to be. So yeah, I kind of came up with a schedule that was around about 31 days.
So let's just break that down again. Donnie wanted to do all 282 Munros in Scotland, cycle between them, and then the ones he couldn't get to on the bike, he'd kayak to. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And he wanted to do all of that in under 32 days to break the records. I mean, to smash the records. But on the journey, on the adventure, what did a normal day look like for Donnie?
Typically, my normal day would start at 5 a.m. or just after 5. Get up, have breakfast. Breakfast would be like toast and almond butter and blueberry jam, maybe a couple of cups of tea. Then I'd have a can of Red Bull before going out the door, just to kind of give me an extra kick out the door. I was normally out the door about 6, or tried to be out the door for 6 and start running from 6. And then depending on the day, I could be out for like maybe 10, 12 hours, 14, 15, 16 hours without getting back to the van. Other days it might be broken up, where I'm coming off a hill, pick up a bike, go cycle to another set of hills, so I might get back and be able to resupply. But some days, like once I left the van, that was it until the evening. But on average, probably average about 12 hours a day. Some days were slightly shorter, some days were slightly longer. Averaging sleep-wise, I was averaging about 8 hours sleep. Again, some days might be slightly shorter, some days might be slightly longer, depending on how the day went. Obviously, because the Munros are quite far spread out, you do one set of Munros and you wouldn't start another set unless you could finish them, because there's no point in coming off a ridge line to climb back up the ridge line the next day, because you're doubling your work. So you had that's all what went into the planning of the schedule, was trying to make it most efficient. So if I started a ridge, I was going to finish it rather than coming off and going back in.
Obviously, being out there for such a long time, there is going to be moments where you're questioning what you're doing. Why are you putting yourself through the hardship? Cue Donnie.
Yeah, day 17 comes to mind. Like, I knew going into this, like, middle of the challenge was going to be the hardest, because you're so far away from the start and so far away from the end. Like, it's Groundhog Day, so the novelty's worn off, the excitement's worn off. You're getting in there, but you've built up so much fatigue, and you're not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel. So around about day 17, I'd done like consecutive 12, 14, 16-hour days, and all I could see was big day after big day, and I'd kind of lost focus. So I wasn't focusing on Munro at a time, at a day at a time. All I could see was like so many more days ahead. And then I was also picked up a new injury, which then just kind of sent me into mental spiral, like, oh, it's going to be painful for the next however many days. And that just kind of set me off as like, why am I here? There's no point to it. I'm just suffering. But finished day 17, and then the next day, because I've been doing it for so long, it was routine. It was like, okay, I get up, I go out the next day, and I do it. I was out the van for 6 a.m.
And now, let's be honest, what we are all here to hear about, the finish.
Kind of coming into the finish, I did like a massive, like, 48 hours straight, kind of running, cycling without any sleep. And you know, I knew I was beating the record by that point. So it was like people asking, why did you do that? You didn't have to. You're like 5 days up already. And I was like, because for me, the challenge was all about seeing how far I could push myself physically and mentally. And like when I get close to the end, I was like, okay, well, I might as well just keep going and see how far I can get before I make it to the end. Like it was like I had nothing else to lose. You know, if I had to stop and sleep for a few hours, I was still going to beat the record. So it was like empty the tank time. And then I also knew the weather was going to change slightly in a couple of days' time. So I was like, okay, I'll try and get as much in before the weather changes. So yeah, and that led to me finishing on Ben Hope, which is the most northerly Munro, and something about that about about 5:45, on a random morning. I think it might have been a Tuesday morning. And there was very few people there. So basically there was a cameraman who was filming for the BBC Adventure Show, my wife and a couple of friends there. So yeah, it was kind of a bit surreal. Like I remember like thinking I was glad I was finished, but I was actually quite sad because I had no more Munros to go and do. If you know what I mean, it's like end of an adventure. You've been planning this for like over 12 months and then it comes to an end and you're like, yeah, really excited you've achieved it. But there's also like a tinge of kind of sadness that adventure's over now and you got to go back to like normal life and you can't just live in a van and run up hills every day. So yeah, it was kind of mixed emotions. Yeah, obviously I was really happy I achieved it and great it was finished, but it was kind of also a wee bit of like sadness that was it over. And yeah, I had to go back and, you know, back to reality really.
31 days, 23 hours and 2 minutes. That's the new record. Donnie completely blew the old record out of the park. Thank you so much to Donnie for coming on Run Through TV. Thank you to you, of course, for watching. If you don't subscribe to Run Through TV yet, please do click on that subscribe button. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up as well. And anyone you'd like to see on Runner Stories in the near future, please do pop their name in the comments section below.